I just
yeah, so I'll just click the link on the email.
Okay. Okay. That can also work. Robin, how did you sign in? Did you sign in with your SACAP email, or did it prompt for the SACAP email?
I signed in with email, sir.
Okay. Okay.
The link that you
Awesome.
just sent. Yeah.
Alrighty. Just let me know how this is coming through. I'm gonna just share my screen. Okay, let me actually just do this first. All right, let me just get the sharing. Just let me know if this works for you, in which I've got the slides on one side and sort of a picture of myself on the other side. And if it works for you, then just give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't work so well, then just give me a thumbs down, because I think the screen might be okay. You don't need French subtitles. Yeah, how's that? You can still read the screen a bit. Let me just slide onto that. Is that okay? You can still read what's on the screen and see myself and see me on the one side. Awesome, great stuff. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Theo Wilscott. I'll be your online facilitator or online educator for this module. It is a very interesting module. I have not quite approached this subject matter from this direction. It's always been part of other modules that I've taught, especially strategic management, business management, that I've been teaching for the last 10 years, or a long time, strategic leadership. And this is sort of the first time that I'm teaching a model that is sort of specifically focused on corporate governance, ethics, and citizenship in business management. So I had a look through most of the content, and it's interesting how the content was sort of put together. So there's a bit on leadership, there's a bit on strategy, and then there's this idea of corporate governance and ethics and so forth, and corporate citizenship. So I'm not, most of you are doing, I take it, a BA in business management and human resources, I take it, or business management psychology. I'm not sure. Sort of which direction?
Psychology.
And psychology. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Great. So it's almost like this dual streams, because on the psychology side, you're dealing with psych, and you're dealing with everything from cognitive psychology to understanding psychological frameworks and all of that, and that's like a stream, and that is very much to do with understanding the mind and understanding behavior and so forth. And then you've got business management on the other side, which is quite an interesting combination between the two. And business management actually is also a social science. Strangely enough, is also a social science. But think of business management as human behavior within a organization. And we no longer talk about businesses, we talk about organizations, because it extends just a for-profit business to organizations, which can be anything from a church to a not-for-profit to a organization that's for-profit. And we distinguish sort of private organizations from public organizations, and public organizations being those that are run by the state for public goods that are not for profit. And then we got private organizations, which are those businesses that are run for profit. Some of them, some are not for profits, but they are not run by the state. And within that sphere, within that sort of whole sort of space, you find sort of these very interesting combinations, these very interesting sort of ways of looking at things. But all of that, whether it's the big umbrella is management science. We like to call it management science because then it sounds not much like a social science. It sounds like a proper science. But management science is this sort of umbrella term under which everything falls, everything from industrial psychology, organizational psychology, human resource management, logistics, supply chain management, information systems management. So that is that entire sort of space, or that umbrella term is management science. And that is sort of my area, specifically leadership and strategic management. And then with that is this sort of corporate governance element to it. So that's a little bit about me, and yeah, I'll be quite interested to explore this module in this format with you as we sort of go through it. There's a prescribed textbook. Please access it. You can access it via the links, and it's NQF 6, which is second year level. So what does that mean? I've put it in here specifically because at NQF 6, unlike NQF 5, which is first year or the equivalent of first year, NQF 6 level subjects is assessed in a different way. So it generally is assessed with a view of allowing you to be more critical, whereas first year with NQF 5 level subject, which is the first year of any bachelor's degree, tend to be name this, list this, define this, describe that. Second year, it's a lot more with examples, explain this, critically evaluate this. It's a lot to do with no longer just regurgitating information, but now interacting and sort of looking at the information, looking at the frameworks, looking at the theories from different directions. And the way things are assessed and the way I mark at the NQF 6 level requires, or my expectation is that it's not just about repeating things. It's about defining something, but then looking at it and saying, okay, is this the right theory for this particular context? Is it the right theory for this particular case study? And if it's not, is there an alternative one? Is that critical, sort of constant critical way of evaluating and looking and reassessing these theories and these frameworks that we use? Because under the management science umbrella, even though we call it management science, it is still a social science. So some of the theories work some of the time in some cases. You know, it's all contextual. It's all depending on the finer nuance and the complexity. So some management theories would work in Western organizations and won't work in Eastern organizations. It won't work under these circumstances. It won't work in this industry. But what we do in management science, we try to develop these sort of theories that are what we call halo theories. These theories that can work in most cases, and you can apply most of the theory, but not all of it. And it's just a way of making sense of the world. It's just a way of making sense of organizations where we spend most, if not all, of our adult life in. 70 to 80% of our adult life is spent working in organizations in some form or some way, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're working in a big corporate, or whether you're working in a small company, you're working in a space with people that you didn't choose to. And you're getting paid by trading your labor, trading your time, trading your innovation, your creativity for something returned, which is money. So it's really quite a quite an important aspect of trying to understand our lived experience as humans, as people, this organizational thing where we spend so much time in it. I'll be providing you with material sort of on a weekly basis. I try to get the material up and running ahead of time. It's the first time I'm teaching this module, not aspects of the module, because there's lots of aspects of this module which I've taught in other courses, but not in this particular form. So I'm just busy getting all of my material together and creating some material as well. I'm using a bit of AI to create some video podcasts, and please have a listen to them. I do listen to them, and they're amazing. And if they work for you, then I'll continue doing it. But if they don't work for you, then please tell me. Then I can find and do some other things as well. So the week would consist of a couple of very basic activities. You'll have some sort of engagement on a discussion. I want to bring in sort of real world, local case studies for you to read through as part of that discussion. The discussions are required. They're not mandatory, they're not part of the module engagement, but please do take the time to read through it and comment on your fellow classmates' stuff. There'll be a quiz, and I'll touch on how we do that a bit later as well. So why does this corporate why does all of this thing matter? Why does a company that is owned by shareholders, that has a profit motive, why do they need to bother about the environment, about social license, about the impact that they have on society as a whole? And why are we talking about corporates as citizens? Now that's an interesting sort of concept, sort of idea that has only really come about in the last 30 years or so. It's this idea that corporates, because they make use of natural resources, energy, they draw that out of the environment, they use energy, they use these resources, they transform that resources into something of value that they then sell for profit. That they have a responsibility, not just to a country, but globally, they've got a responsibility to sort of balance out what they're taking by giving something back. Now, I'm putting that in very vague terms. It is this idea that your ethical and responsible actions give you legitimacy and trust. Now this is where things get interesting, because it's the whole chicken and egg thing. Do companies, and this is a very interesting juxtaposition, do companies do the right thing, Nike using recycled material, doing responsible labor practices, looking after the environment? Do they do it because they want to do it, or they do it because the activists, the legislation, the governments where they operate, and ultimately the consumers are forcing them to do it, and they will only buy the brand, they will only believe in the brand, the brand will only have legitimacy and trust if they can prove that they're doing these things? Or are they doing it because they genuinely, really, deep in their hearts, believe that it's the right thing to do? Now, I'm naturally cynical. And I don't believe that companies are doing these things because they are really deep in their hearts, they want to do the right thing. They are driven by market forces, they are driven by legislation. And they are driven by consumers ultimately in order to do this thing. And then that then leads the question: how little can they do by still appearing to do a lot? And that's sort of where the rubber hits the road. That's sort of that space, that's that tension, and how you approach it from in the direction that you approach it. If you believe that companies are doing this because they want to do it, or if you believe that companies are doing this because they're forced to do it, then that will determine how you look at the efforts and how you critical of the efforts. A fascinating example is the iPhone and the new packaging. So about 2 or 3 generations ago, they started taking out the cables. They started taking out the charger out of the iPhone box, and they were the first to do it. And their box got reduced by a certain size. The interesting thing about that whole entire exercise is the way they sold it. It's about good for the environment. We can ship more iPhones, so it is more cost effective, and it reduces shipping costs. It reduces the amount of carbon that gets spewed into the environment because it's fewer ships, it's fewer containers, it's more iPhones. It is more efficient. But they didn't give you a charger that was for free before. So now, and they're also saying it reduces e-waste and all of those lovely things. But they've taken something away from you that was free before. And they were saving costs. And they were saving on shipping costs because the cartons, that extra few millimeters that the carton was smaller, the iPhone box was smaller, allowed them to increase their shipping capacity by something like 20%. So they could fill a container with 20% more iPhones. Considering that Apple sells about 300 million iPhones every quarter, that's every 3 months, gives an idea of how much money they truly have saved in transport costs. Now, the cynic in me says, well, they did it for themselves. But the way they sold it to us as consumers, and we went, yay, Apple is the front runner, they the best, they reducing e-waste, they blah, blah, all of these things. And then all the other companies followed. And that's really the sort of that tension about sort of the ethical and responsibility of firms and companies and organizations, especially with globalization. Now that companies are all over the world. So chew on that a bit. And as you sort of starting off this module this week, sort of just always keep that in mind. Always just keep that in mind. The learning outcomes for the module is about understanding sustainability in a corporate strategy. Now, sustainability is one of those loaded words because it often is not fully described. Sustainability often is only seen as environmental sustainability. Sustainability is like a table with 4 legs. One area of sustainability is social responsibility or social license to operate, and that ethical responsibility as good corporate citizens towards this society as a whole, but also the local communities where they manufacture and consumers ultimately that they sell products to. And then the second leg of the table is environmental sustainability, the resources that they use in order to manufacture products, energy that they use to sell you services, like data centers now with AI that is coming under scrutiny. The third leg of the table of sustainability is corporate governance and transparency. And then the fourth leg of sustainability is financial sustainability, making the right strategic financial decisions in terms of capital investment, operational investments, and expansion in order to build a sustainable business that will develop and deliver value over time for shareholders, for stakeholders, and so forth. So don't just think of sustainability in a very narrow sense where it's just talking about the environment. It is all 4 aspects of it. financial, environmental, social, and governance. There's a three-letter word that we tend to use is ESG. It has come a bit under fire. It's become a bit of a swear word lately as the winds are turning against things like sustainable energy and all of those type of things. So ESG, like DEI, like some of these other words, have sort of become more swear words than anything else as we sort of start looking and grappling with these issues. But ESG is essentially it's environmental, social, and governance. I add financial as well, which is the fourth leg of sustainability. We also look at ethics. Now that's interesting. And then corporate governance, the King 4 report, which is one of those very interesting sort of documents, that sort of policy documents that has really come out of corporate failures. So, where corporates weren't terribly good and they did quite nefarious things, losing shareholder value, selling customers products that don't exist, and all kinds of things. And the King 4 has really been a driver in corporate governance to give policy guidelines. Everything from how much CEOs need to get paid to the composition of the board, to a whole lot of the composition of the different subcommittees, how many times you have to meet, what should be on the agenda, auditing requirements, and so forth. So a very comprehensive guideline in terms of what is required from a public company. Why a public company? Because we as public, we invest in these corporates, whether it is your parents through their pension fund, or whether it is you through your own shares that you have in these companies. These companies have an obligation, a legal obligation to us as shareholders and as the public. And then we're also going to talk about a little bit about social responsibility, South African context, stakeholder engagement strategies, which is, again, that tension between, are you doing it because you have to, or are you doing it because you really want to, are you doing it because you have a real moral obligation? And then evaluate corporate citizenship through applied case analysis. So we've got two assessments. The first one is white paper and ethical case analysis, 30 marks. Second assessment, group case study analysis. Now, let me pause there, because this is where things get interesting. I've learned from my experience that online group work, during COVID, I was teaching 8 hours a day, and I was supporting other online lecturers or lecturers to come online in order to support them, in order to teach them how to teach online and online teaching strategies and all kinds of things. And we also were then for the first time introduced to this whole idea of group work and submitting group sort of assignments and so forth, and the tools that there is to use. Now, we're quite fortunate in which, because of COVID, because of Microsoft, and because of Zoom and all of these things, all of us has become a lot more comfortable with working online and meeting online and connecting online to ultimately complete a specific sort of project. So I am going to take the class. I'm going to randomly divide the class into groups. What would be the most efficient group? I just need your feedback. So please, you can switch on your mics. I've got a 4 in my head because I think a 5 is a bit too much. And but the problem with the 4 is if 2 don't pull their weight, then it ends up with 2 people taking the load. A 5, if 1 or 2 there's issues. And again, when I say don't pull their weight, it's not because people are lazy. It's life. So often life happens. You're busy working on something, life happens, and you can't put the focus into your studies as you want to. Some of you are working, and suddenly there's a work project, and suddenly you're running around like a headless chicken, and studying is something that you do on a Sunday afternoon. And So please just give me some guidance as to what group size would work for you. You are fortunate, you are all online, so you can tell me.
I think 3 or 4 would work, but depending on how many we are in the class, would we be equally distributed within those certain groups? If
Yeah.
it's 4, 5, I
If
mean,
if it's 4, then if there's not enough to make up a large group, it will be 3.
yeah, I think 3 or 4s, but I think 5 is a bit too much.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Matt?
I agree with Tiamo.
Okay, thanks, Robin. Thanks, Anthea. Matt, on your side? I think Matt might have stepped out for some coffee. All right,
Okay.
so 4, yeah. And if the large group, if there's 2 people left in the large group, I might end up doing 3 groups of 3 to make that last 3 stretch type thing. Okay, good. 2 groups of 3. Yeah, if it's 2 people left. If it's 1 person left, then it would be 3 groups of 3. Got it. Alrighty, I will do so, and I think I want to do it this week already. I want to get you into groups. I want you guys to start connecting with each other. I want you guys to start working on it, even if it's in a very basic way, sort of dividing up work, doing a bit of research, getting a draft document together that we all work on, either on Google Drive, but also you can work on it in Teams. All of you have access to Teams. You can start up a document there. You can add your research and just sort of do it small bits at a time, small bits at a time, so that if by, Xanthia, I do see your hand, if by week 3 or 4, you know, I'm getting some feedback to saying, listen, we've started a WhatsApp group, but there's 1 person which we haven't gotten contact from, then we can start making changes. What I don't want is 2 weeks before the submission, we've been working together and this 1 person has just gone AWOL or MIA. We don't know where they are. So I would rather want to have that before the time so that we can start following up and also get maybe student support involved in order to get them to maybe give them a call and find out if everything is all right and so forth. All right. Xanthia?
Hi, Theo. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold as well. I just want to find out with the assessment 2, right, with the case study, is there 2 parts to it, or is there only 1 part that all of us needs to work on? What I've experienced with the last assignment that we submitted as a group, the person that was meant to do the editing then changed our referencing, which brought our marks down. And we could only submit the actual assignment that we all worked on. And then with the 2-part assignment, it then meant you do your personal one plus the group one, you add that in. And then where the problem came in is with the group one, where the referencing was done incorrectly by the editor, according to their knowledge, it was meant to be that way. It brought our assignment level down. So not assignment level, our marks down. So I just want to confirm, this is 1 case study and it will be 1 assignment, not 2 separate parts where each one of us would have to contribute to the original assignment. And then you also need to bring your own part to it as well.
It's, as far as I know, it's 1 assignment, but I'm going to go to the module guide just now and we can have a look after sort of a bit later. And yeah, maybe that's important that you guys, before final submission, that everybody checks the submission and signs off on it. Nobody should be editing and then submit. The editing should be done after everybody has checked as well. But you're right, it is just about communication as a group and making sure that you stick along the side. And again, you ask questions. You can ask me, drop me a note, ask on the WhatsApp group, and so forth. So please do connect with each other. Yeah. Jamo, you got a question?
No, sir. It's a mistake.
Okay, great.
So
Yeah, Matt.
I've climbed. Can I please be excused?
No problem. There seems to be a bit of a reception as well. No problem, Matt. Thanks for signing in. I appreciate it. The session
Okay,
is
perfect. Thank
recorded,
you,
and
sir.
I normally convert it to a YouTube link, and then you guys can always watch it again.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you, sir.
Awesome.
Really
No
appreciate
problem.
it. Have an amazing evening. Thank you.
Alrighty. Cheers, Matt.
Bye.
Bye. So now let's just touch on engagement and also class register and all of that type of thing. Now, because I've always been a part-time lecturer, I don't, this whole class register and class attendance thing is not really something I understand. With full-time classes, you guys go in and you do, like, there's a requirement you have to register. And I know for some of your psych classes, you must attend a certain amount of classes in order to get a class mark and all of those type of things. For me, I'm more of the persuasion where all of you are pretty much adults and you need to take responsibility for your own learning. I'm not gonna sit here and mark who attended or not. So for me, it is just engage with the activities, engage with each other, complete the quizzes. I've got quizzes each week. I've got a discussion each week. There is readings, there's videos, there's all kinds of things. I've marked all of them as required. Click on it, watch it, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, click on a link for PDF, stick the PDF into ChatGPT, chat to the PDF to get a summary of it. As long as you just continually engage with the material that I put out, engage with the videos, watch it, and each little engagement, each little sort of learning activity that I post, I give you a little description, I give you little questions to think about while you're watching the video, to think about while you're reading, to think about while you're listening to the podcast, just to reflect. Because for me, my learning philosophy or my teaching philosophy is Socratic learning, which is about asking deep and meaningful questions in order to encourage thinking through and the learning process. So for me, there's no class register in which you have to do attendance. For the engagement mark, which is your 20%, there'll be 10 quizzes. And out of that 10, you have to complete, I'm not sure what I said in the email. I might think 6. You have to complete 6 of those 10 in order to get 100% of your mark for module engagement. You have to pass the quiz. Please don't fail it. The quiz questions are you're not going to sit there. Each one is open for 60 minutes. You're not going to sit there for an hour paging through and trying to get the answers. 10-15 minutes, you'll be able to read through the questions and be able to answer, and you'll be able to get the answer. You'll have two attempts at it. If the first one you get the answers wrong, you can do it again, and hopefully you'll get the right answers the second time around. So for me, that is really just about a way of or assessing sort of learning in a very simple way. Siamo?
So just to get this correct, we will have quizzes that will contribute towards our marks, right? And so basically this online class, it's not like a prerequisite, it's not mandatory.
No.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Again, my teaching philosophy is that you adults, you need to take, responsibility for your own learning. If you want to join me online, share in the discussion, share in the richness of the presentation, absolutely. If you feel that I'm rambling on for 60 minutes and a complete waste of time, don't log in. I record all the sessions. I convert it to a little video. I stick it onto YouTube. I post the video link, and it's always there sort of 2 or 3 days later. Well, I try to do it the next day. It's normally sort of 2 days later. It's there for you to go back to and go and listen. And I always encourage people to do sign in, especially if they have questions, especially that week before submission of assessments. to sign in. I normally have 20 minutes of the session I put aside for a Q&A on the assessment. And that is always valuable time to log in, ask questions about the assessment and get some clarity. But other than that, you're a grown-ass person. You decide whether you want to sign in or not.
Noted. Thank you, sir.
Alrighty. Awesome. So as I said, there's quite a few modules, corporate citizenship sort of this week. Think about that tension between are you doing it because you want to or are you doing it because you have to? Morality, ethics, and law, governance, and King 4, which is it is dry stuff. It is not. It's not going to be all exciting. It's lots of reading and understanding. That's all it needs. That's King 4 in governance. Sorry. Leadership and strategic management. That's where my eyes start lighting up because that's my jam. That's my thing. And then management and ethics. Designing an ethics management program. And yeah, I can actually share some of my own. It shouldn't be. I'm laughing because it's now that I'm thinking of it, it's quite funny. I'll share a bit of my own experience around the ethics program. I worked at Tiger Brands when there was the big bread scandal, in which Tiger Brands was fined like 250 million rand for their involvement in the bread price fixing scandal. I didn't work on the bread side. I was selling washing powders and shampoos on a different side of the business, but I was in the business. And I can remember us, all the senior managers, going for ethics training, where they literally sat us down and explained to us, don't meet with your competitors and discuss pricing. That's illegal. And one person in the group says, what do you mean it's illegal? We're just discussing what market conditions are, and then the lawyer literally like pulled his hair out and said, like, it's illegal. And the bread guys were all like looking at him like with eyes going, we don't understand. We don't know what you're talking about. It was so funny. But yeah, I'll share a little bit about that time, my time at Tiger Brands at that time of the bread price fixing scandal. It rocked the business. It shook the business completely. It wasn't a great time to be around at that time. It was not good. The business was not doing well, but also just the mood and the morale inside the business was just, it was terrible. I stayed around because they paid well, and also we got big bonuses. So that tells you a little bit about my morals. But it wasn't a great time to be within that business at that time. Bearing in mind that, remember, there was 3 parties involved. The first one, which was Premier Milling, they copped out. They said it was them, and then they pointed Tiger Brands and Blue Ribbon out, and they said they were with us. So it's Sasco, Albany, and Blue Ribbon. That's the 3 bread brands, Sasco, Albany, Blue Ribbon. And then they said, no, there was 2, they were also with us. And then Tiger Brand said, okay, we were there. But then Blue Ribbon said, no, we don't know what they're talking about. It was so funny. They were like caught dead to rights, but they still fought till the last moment. And that's why they got fined something like 800 million at the end of it. Yeah, it was not sad, but sad funny. Yeah. Xanthia?
Theo, it's going to be like a funny one though, right? Just want to see that we're speaking about ethics and law. Did you perhaps sign an NDA at the time?
Why?
Because of the disclosure. No. Yeah. So it's like always like the first thing I normally ask a business when staff starts, especially if there's a lot of competitors involved, like like you're stating right now, is there an NDA? So like the interesting thing for me as well, I come from Sanlam, and I've worked there for 14 years, and compliance was my bread and my butter. Loved it to bits, still do.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
So then I went and I joined a startup, and they've been operating for the last 10 years. And when, like, now that you're discussing this, I'm actually laughing in the background because when I came in, the first thing that I asked, and I rocked the boat a little bit, so that any of
must
our
not be doing that.
partners, no, like literally not. So I started in February. So I started asking these questions in September. It's like, okay, did any of our partners agree to an NDA? Does any of their staff have an NDA? They're like, no. The next thing, the following day, we had a meeting with the lawyer, but nowhere in our contract does it state that you've actually signed an NDA. So she's like, no, you do know that this is it. This is what it means. So I'm like, well, actually not, because we've never signed NDAs. Our partners literally went and they produced the competitive product on the information that we provided them. And I'm like looking back and I'm like, there goes King 5, and there goes ethics, and there goes the law. Yeah.
Yes, I know. It is such a. It's not a grey area. It is black and white. But so many companies get it wrong, and that is why companies don't. They fall foul of the law. They end up being fined not because they're nefarious. Well, some are. They're just incompetent. You know. And that's often what happens. You know, it's not through nefarious actions. Oh no, but we want to. You know, the bread thing was quite nefarious. But I mean, so many other times when these things happen, when companies are getting fined, it's because they're just incompetent. They didn't put the right things in place in order to protect themselves. So I'm not going to carry on too much on some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, but. The learning units for this week sort of covers on this whole idea of corporate citizenship, the moral and ethical responsibility of organizations towards the greater society. And then we also talk, also in this week is covered the global compact and the sustainability goals, development and systems theory, which is very brief. It is interesting. And then the core elements of sustainability that we talked about, and then climate change, agreed facts. Quite funny that it's in inverted commas, agreed facts, and exploring strategies to address climate change, and then linking corporate benefits to sustainability actions. And that's interesting, because what is happening now is that you find that companies are they're talking about impact investing. So impact investing is this whole idea of curating a companies under a portfolio where they've got good sort of sustainability scores, good ESG scores, and you invest in them because their carbon footprint is low, they're doing for the community, then on all of these things, and all of that is again. I don't know whether anybody knows the term of astroturfing. Astroturfing is where you it's like green propaganda. You lie, or you make up things, or you green paint it in order to make. They used to call it whitewashing. Now it's green painting, or it's astroturfing. It is where companies are saying things to make investors and the wider community and stakeholders think that they're doing all these amazing things, but they're doing less. So they're overstating their impact. And there's quite a bit of I don't want to call it a cottage industry, but there's quite a bit of pressure on finding a set of auditing principles to audit it, to actually make it part of the auditing process. Like an auditor goes in, they check slips, and they check your financial statements, they check everything in that respect, to also include things like the sustainability sort of reports that are put out by companies, to actually audit those to make sure that if they say this, then that is actually what they did, instead of inflating it or overstating it. We touched on corporate citizenship, drivers of corporate change, United Nations Global Compact, and then sustainable development. And there's interesting in the textbook, you'll read again, if you're going to read through the entire 2 chapters, there's quite a bit of a nice sort of a timeline as to how do you guys want access to the textbook slides, because we have sort of, as part of our sort of lecture notes with the textbook developer or the textbook publisher, we get like PowerPoint slides and things, and I can post those as well if you want to have a look at those as well.
Yes, please, sir.
Okay, good. I'll stick those up as well. I'll just PDF it. It will be easier to view in that way. So on the slides, there's actually a very nice timeline in terms of systems theory, but also the Brundtland report, which introduced this whole modern definition of what is sort of sustainable development and so forth. We touched on this a bit earlier: climate change, corporate climate strategies, what they're doing, what they're not doing. So for this week, I included the SAPI report, the SAPI Sustainable or Corporate Citizen report for you to have a look at. And I'm asking a couple of questions to as you're reading through it. Now, please make use of AI. Please stick that thing. It's like 40 pages. Stick it into ChatGPT, and then there's some discussion prompts for you. Do those discussion prompts, and then engage with the material using AI, because it's an amazing tool. You don't have to spend 2 hours reading through a 60-page report. You can spend half an hour summarizing it, sticking in these questions, getting a little summary, and you'll have, yes, you won't have 100% understanding, but it's that payoff. You have to decide, do you want to spend 2 hours on it, or do you want to spend half an hour on it? Will half an hour give you 50%, 60% understanding? Whereas 2 hours will give you 100% understanding. So it's up to you. It's that trade-off. You have to decide. I use AI extensively. It is a wonderful tool to use in academics. It's an amazing tool. But again, it's that balance between what we call, in AI, we call it cognitive offloading. It is you using it to think for you. And that's not good, because once you stop thinking critically and then just put in questions and take the answers and submit those answers, you're not engaging with those answers. You're not cognitively reflecting on it, critically evaluating it, and checking that you understand it, and also if it is true, because AI hallucinate. They make up things, and they make up things so well that you don't know the difference between what is truth and what is an hallucination. So cognitive offloading is where you offloading that critical thinking, that engaging with the literature, but it can do the heavy lifting for you. So the heavy lifting is a 60-page report to get a summary, a 60-page report and asking you different questions to better understand it, and to respond to those questions, and sort of having you're literally having a conversation with the PDF document as if you're talking to another person. And that's not cognitive offloading. That is engaging with the material critically and so forth. So please do make use of it. But again, beware of cognitive offloading. Yeah, as I said, the quiz is there. And this week's quiz is actually not chapters 1 and 2. Sorry, it is chapters 2 and 3. And it takes 60 minutes there's 60 minutes. It's open. You've got 2 attempts at it. The system takes the best score out of them. And yeah, that's really the quizzes for you. Tiamo?
So regarding the quiz, I see that it is due on the 30th of November. So is there like a specific date where the quizzes will be closed?
I'm leaving it open till the last day of course, because yeah, I used to close it on a Monday night the following week, like at 1 minute to 12.
Mm-hmm.
but then I get 7 emails or 8 emails or 10 emails. Sir, I forgot, or sir, my dog ate my laptop. Sir,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't have reception, sir, this, and then I just thought, you know what? Let me just leave it open for the duration of the course, of the module, of the term, and you literally have no excuses then. So at the
Yeah.
end of the term, if you have not completed the prerequisite ones, and you're getting 75% of your module engagement mark, and you'd still send me an email, my response is going to be firm.
Okay. No.
A definite no. No?
Perfect. Noted. So thank you, sir.
Alrighty. Cynthia?
Theo, just a quick one. I'm looking at the assignment for the group, right?
Yeah.
And each lecturer has got their own preference as to the headings that we need to put in. So my question here is, I see that you've got preempted headings in here. Do we conform to those headings, or do we have to change them?
Can I also get there quickly? Okay, there we go. Can everybody see my screen? The PDF, the document,
Yes.
the
Yes, sir.
module outline. Okay, great. Okay, where are we now? Where are we now? This one. Rubric. Don't do that. Okay, maximum 4,000 words. Bloody hell. And I have to mark this. The assessment aims to instructions, group formation and process, form small groups of 2 to 3, collaboratively decide how you will tackle this assignment, create a group charter, group process log, complete individual peer evaluation forms after the project, case study selection, in your groups analyze, leadership and management. All right. Okay. Required 3. Okay. So Xanthia, I will, for my own sanity and being able to mark this consistently, I will most probably put together a Word document template, in which I will give you clear guidelines as to here's the a page of contents, section 1, section 2, section 3, subtitles, titles, what needs to go into each one of them, the word count in each one, etc., etc. All right. Is that okay?
Yes, that's perfect. Do we know when the groups are going to be assigned? So
By the end of this week.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the rest of the team. So I am a full-time employee with a 2-year-old at home as well, and I study full-time. I've forced my way into studying full-time. I want to finish this degree and get it done with. So I normally start with my assignments like now that I'm asking these questions. So I start putting my assignments together, and I do my layout already. That's I need to pre-plan everything.
Absolutely. By the end of this week, and possibly then connection next week, the whole sort of group charter and roles and responsibilities possibly next week, and connect with the group. And please make sure that you guys communicate with me immediately if there's issues around the group. I've had one issue. I've had one not so great thing happen with some group work that we did last year, in which one student was disciplined due to I won't say unethical behavior. It was just not according to the student code of conduct, and they ended up being expelled. So please, if there's issues, immediately get in touch with me. But I'm also not a group counselor. I'm not a marriage counselor. So, so please, if you can resolve the issues between yourselves as much as possible before I call in somebody to assist, because we do have access to student counselors that can assist groups where there's some issues, where there's some challenges. And that is why I want to get this thing off as soon as possible so that you can start working. You've got like 9 weeks to work together towards finishing it off. Yeah, Siamo?
Yeah, I'm asking a lot of questions today. I wanted to ask, regarding the WhatsApp group. So earlier on, you had mentioned that you had sent an email with the link, but I am not finding that email. I don't know if it's on my side or because I'm checking. You said it's yesterday, so I'm checking yesterday's and the prior. So I don't.
Okay, I'll send it again. I'll send it again.
Okay, thank you.
Did anybody else receive it? I know, Xanthia, I know I sent you an email earlier. Did you by any chance get it? Robin, did you get it? No?
No, so I didn't get it.
Okay. I was feeling very sorry for myself because nobody joined it, and I was like, oh, nobody wants to join my WhatsApp group. But the email might not have gone through, so I'll send it again now this evening. Are there any other questions before we log off for the evening?
Just something about yourself, though. You
Yes.
see that this is the first time that you're doing this course, right? Just for interest sake, what was it? What was the courses that you did before?
It's mostly, yeah. You didn't sign in then, yeah, when I was doing the whole selling myself thing. It's mostly strategy, leadership development, leadership. For the last 10 odd years teaching in that sort of space. So there's always been corporate governance as part of that. I mean, corporate governance and ethics has always been part of those courses, whether it's part of strategy, whether it's part of corporate leadership, whether it's part of business management 1, 2, and 3, whether it's part of what else was there? Yeah, those are sort of business process mapping, business process engineering, information systems management, which is more strategic rather than computer science. Yeah, so those are sort of the areas that I've been teaching in. So I mean, listen, there's 4 sort of week sessions in this course, which is stuff that I know like the back of my hand, or back of my hand that I really enjoy. The leadership components, the strategy components, so forth. Yeah.
No, Shaib, I'm not questioning anything, but just for interest sake. Yeah, so no, quite confident in capabilities already, like what you spoke about. So just for interest sake, I wanted to know. Sorry.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's interesting how this course was designed. I wasn't, I washed my hands, I'm telling you now already. I wasn't part. I do also learning design for SACAP. So a lot of the courses that you see online, I would have had, some of them I would have, especially on the management side, I would have had a hand in putting them together, either designing the learning activities or sort of designing the overall course, and then also designing the assessments. That's kind of a specialty area that I'm good at, which is assessment design and designing for learning. And also the way we were designing stuff and designing learning stuff. And I mean, SACAP has been one of those, and I mean, I've worked at different colleges, and SACAP, I must say, has been one of the colleges and one of the private higher institutions that have been really on the cutting edge of designing assessments for learning, so that you do an assessment and actually learn something from it, rather than write a 2,000-word essay on this. That does nothing. The only thing it does is your ability to write a 2,000-word essay, you know. And I like the way SACAP is really pushing, because there's also requirements from the Department of Higher Education in terms of what constitutes an assessment and how you do assess. So there's very strict guidelines, but SACAP has really been pushing the limit on doing assessments that are fun. I mean, for our higher certificate students, we do videos. They record themselves like TikTok videos for assessments. I mean, how cool is that? You know, yeah, you know, instead of writing a bloody essay, you know, yeah. So I'm really, I'm really glad that SACAP has taken that view. It's almost like we'll push and push and push, and we'll say sorry afterwards, which is always a good approach. Yeah, good stuff.
No,
guys, thank you
definitely.
very much.
I literally, yeah.
Yeah.
I literally had to I put myself into this full-time module because I wanted to do me part-time. But due to my marks, they were like, okay, no, we'll give it to you. So it was like a back and forth the entire time. So I'm glad I could join and happy to be here. And obviously, yeah, I'm here to excel and exceed. And I wish the team all the best and yourself as well on this new journey that you're on to.
Yeah, no, thank you, guys, absolutely. And once again, I'm serious about the whole flexibility around needing to sign in. What I don't want though is just me and Robin sitting here at night, because that's going to get interesting. What do you think, Robin? So if you can log in, please log in. If you can't, that's also okay. The recordings and the videos are available generally a day or 2 days later. All right, guys, have a wonderful evening. Enjoy, and I'm looking forward to sort of connecting with you next week, and also sending out the group breakdown by the end of this week, so you guys can get started on that. Alrighty, good evening. Cheers,
Yes, sir.
everybody, and thanks for all the good questions.
Bye,
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.